you find this old beggar, like, you know, laying down in the street, and you help him. And guess who that beggar turns out to be?
Is he a wizard? If you tell me he's a wizard.
The creator.
Oh,
it's
God?
Yeah. You help God, and then God's like, oh, you're a cool guy. You could probably, like, save the universe and be, like, you know, awesome. Good evening! Welcome to Tweed Up, where we take video games, music, movies, and more way too seriously. I'm Neil, this is Zac, and today we're going to do a console retrospective of the 3DO.
Woo!
Yeah, the 3DO, developed by the 3DO company, founded by Trip Hawkins, who came from Electronic Arts. And it's a really, really interesting system because the 3DO company did not manufacture the system. They licensed the technology to other manufacturers like Panasonic, which was kind of the main one. Sanyo made some, Gold Star, which is now LG, and like even other AT&T was going to make some. I don't think they ever did, but they licensed the technology. Came out October 4th, 1993, and because of this is different than other consoles. So most consoles come out and take a loss on the hardware sales because they make the money back on the software sales. The 3DO did not have that option because they weren't generally, you know, Gold Star was not
they're not
making software.
Games.
So it launched at $700.
Woo!
So, in 1993.
Dad, I know you'll see this. I cannot believe you spent $793 on my birthday, my 13th birthday. That's awesome that you did that, man.
Yeah, that is awesome.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Mom, don't get on his case, okay? Like
it's over.
Yeah, that's been over for a long time now. But Dad, good looking out, man.
They sold 2 million. So, I mean, this console is looked at in video game history sort of with a negative lens.
Catch that, yeah.
People make fun of it because it does have a lot of like FMV games that people like to make fun of and stuff like that. But when you look at, so this came out in 93.
It's better than the Sega CD.
Well, so the Sega CD came out in 92, and I would argue, yes, there's much more quality software on the 3DO than there is on the Sega CD. The Atari Jaguar came out in November 93. Now, I have a Jaguar.
Yeah, you do have it.
I like it a lot, but the 3DO, for me, has more
100%.
quality software than... you have the CDI, which came out in 1990, which, you know...
Infamous Zelda game.
Yes.
That's what everybody knows about the...
Yeah, but it was the competition for this.
It was.
The PS1 didn't come out till 95. The Saturn didn't come out till 95. You had the Neo Geo, which was in 1990, which is awesome, but...
We all knew one guy that owned the Neo Geo, and I don't like you, Ted. I never did.
And they were trying to do it. That's not even a competition.
No.
You know, 3DO was not trying to do... No one was trying to do what Neo Geo
Neo Geo was like, hey, you like our arcade machines? Come, you know, buy this even more expensive thing. $200 games at home.
Yeah, the TurboGrafx was in 89. They also had the CD add-on. Now, TurboGrafx, one of the greatest consoles of all time.
This guy's got a soft spot. In case you haven't noticed on that.
But for 1993, the 3DO... Really good system.
Heck yeah!
Really capable
great
system.
Great sound.
Yeah.
Great graphics.
As far as like Nintendo is concerned, like the N64 didn't come out till 96, so they're still rocking Super Nintendo stuff. So when and I love the Super Nintendo.
Oh yeah.
And Genesis, but like when you compare, like people are playing their Nintendo, Super Nintendos and their Genesis when this is out. You know?
I went from Genesis to 3DO.
Yeah. So that's the video game world that this was released into. You know? Now $700 is very expensive, you know, very, very expensive in 93.
Yeah, I think we're talking about like $3,000.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
I'll put up how much it is here.
But if you could get one, you know, I guess I don't really understand why there's so much kind of negative thoughts about the 3DO looking back. And that's why we're here to change that.
We're going to change some hearts and minds here.
So we're just gonna talk about some of our favorite games.
Yeah.
So do you wanna?
Did
you enjoy being a 3D owner?
I did.
3DO owner. 3DO owner.
I got. The launch. I had the launch 3D owner.
That's
way to coin that 3D owner. Yeah. Armado, Crash and Burn, man. Like that was the pack-in game. I played the tar out of that game. I played the heck out of it all the time.
Yeah, Crash and Burn is it's like Wipeout, but not that far in the future.
Yeah, that's a great way of describing it. You can race, compete in the league, upgrade your car, get new weapons and stuff. A lot of replayability. Difficulty level was fair. I liked it a lot. Played that a lot. Did you play Crash and Burn?
I've never played Crash and Burn.
That's amazing.
I know.
Wow.
I should get a copy of Crash and Burn.
Yeah. What's your favorite? Or do you want to just pick one at random? Which one do you want to talk about? Or what's first on your list?
We're going to talk about Slayer.
That's a great one. Right? I love Slayer. Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. Slayer.
So this came out in September of '94.
That game is so good.
It goes into A, D, and D. Do you know that thing's called an ampersand? Are you aware of that?
An ampersand. Okay. Yeah.
Ampersand. They're cool. Slayer. The intro.
Oh yeah.
Have you watched it in the last 30 years? Actually, I think we had it in the background.
Yeah, I think we did have it in the background of one of the relatively recent ones. It's super cool.
You just wonder, it's just this dude walking up to a building. He's like some kind of priest or something, and you wonder, is he going to, what's motivating that guy? You know what I mean? Is he acting out of fear, out of hatred? I don't know. It gets you ready to play this game, which really has no story whatsoever.
No story whatsoever. Yeah. You are just exploring.
And that's kind of its strength.
Yeah, it is. And there's a lot of customization. You can play, 100%. D&D, character classes and stuff. You can play, how you want to. I think the dungeons are randomly generated.
They are. I wrote, create a character, kill monsters, loot treasure, fight boss.
What more do you need?
Yeah,
honestly.
That's literally all the game is. I remember, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, the enemies were pretty cool. They were not super diverse, but easily, I think, as diverse as, Kingsfield, the first one, which would have came out a little bit later. You don't think so? I mean, there was at least, 7 different kinds of enemies, different color swaps and stuff, right? Slimes.
Kingsfield is way, way, way more ambitious and...
Oh, for sure. I'm just talking about enemy types.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although I don't think there's character creation in Kingsfield.
There is not. There is not.
There's a point for Advanced Dungeons and Dragons.
It's a super fun game. It's first person dungeon crawler. Yeah. It's a lot of when you're attacking, you kind of go forward and you'll 100%. And then move back. Yeah. I wrote that it's like Gateway to Apshai in 3D. If anyone gets that reference,
you better be subscribed.
All right, and then I'm going to talk about Alone in the Dark 2.
Which I would love to be excited about. I've never played an Alone in the Dark game.
Both Alone in the Dark 1 and 2 are on the 3DO. Most people will tell you, and they're probably right, that the first game is the better game. The first game is a horror game. Alone in the Dark 2 is really not. It's It takes all the, it's a survival, it's like a Resident Evil game, kind of, before Resident Evil. But it's not, scary. You break into this house that's this gang. So they're and it's in you're a 1930s, detective.
Okay.
Edward Carnby, who's been the main character in all of the Alone in the Dark game, I believe. But they're gangsters, but they're not just gangsters.
They're just gangsters.
They are zombie pirate gangsters.
What?
Yeah, they're
pirates in the 30s?
It's this pirate crew that hooked up with this voodoo queen who does this spell to keep them alive, and every 100 years they have to sacrifice a young girl, and that keeps them alive for another 100 years.
Okay.
And this girl has been kidnapped, and you're going to rescue her.
Nice.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, and it's really cool. There's a lot of puzzle solving. So this is definitely in the vein of the early Resident Evil games. Mm-hmm. It's just before Resident Evil came out. The music, it's kind of an ugly game, but I find
Is it really dark?
I find it endearing. There are sections where you play as the little girl who's been kidnapped as well. And it's cool. She has some agency. Like, she's helping. There's parts where as Carnby, you get captured, but the little girl will escape, and then she, like, helps you get freed and stuff.
So it's better really than, like, Ico?
No, it's not. Right. But I really like it. It's a really, I think, underrated game, and it's really short. Like, it's like, I don't know, probably less than 3 hours.
Have you beaten it?
Yeah, not recently, but yes, I've beaten it.
Well, you'd still get credit. Yeah.
I mean, I beat it, like, you know, like in probably like 13 or 14 years ago, something like that.
That's cool.
That's relatively recently.
Yeah. For us, I mean,
All right.
Let's talk about Off-World Interceptor.
All right.
That's one I have played.
Off-World Interceptor.
It's another racing combat game, but it is sweet. Like,
came out in '94.
I played this one so much too. Just hours and hours of wasted time. More customization.
Yeah, you make money. So you're like a bounty hunter in space. I wrote that it's like Road Rash in space.
That's it kind of is. Description.
You race and you shoot other guys, and then like at the end of a level, you can like use the money that you make to like
upgrade your stuff. And
by Crystal Dynamics.
Interesting physics. I remember like the vehicle, like the way
there's lots of hills and you can like go over. Some of them are too big and you can't go over them, but most of them you can go over. It's funny if you're too slow. The reigning space government or whatever will just like bomb the entire planet.
I never had that problem.
And like,
apparently. Really? Like just, okay, that's it, you're not performing well enough? Nice. Yeah. I maybe vaguely remember that.
It's like an airstrike.
You know, too slow is not a problem I have.
Do you remember, like, during the cutscenes in this game, there's like two dudes, it's like Mystery Science Theater. They're like sitting.
Oh yeah, and they're doing the commentary.
Of the FMV
it's
cutscenes.
Brilliant.
Yeah. It's actually really good. Like, they're referencing, like, you know, they're making topical movie references and stuff like that.
A little dated, but you know.
But it's pretty crazy for, you know, a 1994 game.
Huge.
Doing that.
And way to bring up Mystery Science Theater. Huge shout out, man. That's one of my faves all time.
And then you got Battle Sport.
Woo! Another one I played.
In '96. So kind of a late release for the 3DO, and
you can kind of polished,
you can kind of tell. Fantastic game.
Indeed.
So there's a game called Ball Blazer that came out in '85. It was on like everything, like the Commodore 64, your Apples, you know, all that stuff. And it was basically vehicular, futuristic soccer, but you couldn't blow up the other player.
True facts.
And is where Battle Sport comes in. It's essentially Ball Blazer, but you have machine guns and missiles.
Yeah.
So when you blow up another player, they're only gone for like 5 seconds is what that countdown timer is, something like that.
Yeah.
But it gives you enough time to like get the ball or get the ball to the goal or something, you know? It's super fun.
You wouldn't have Rocket League if you didn't.
Oh yeah, this is 100% a precursor to Rocket League. Also, I feel like this game developed my strategy for like most sort of first person games. Keep jumping.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's my
That's
my Halo strategy. Just keep jumping. And that's my Battle Sport strategy.
And your Elden Ring strategy. Jump. Yeah. I think it works, you know? Why change what's working?
But it's a super fun game. Like, you can play, there's a single player campaign.
Yep.
There's also a multiplayer. You play against each other. And I forgot to mention, we didn't talk about the 3DO controller, which is
awesome.
Yeah, but it's an interesting controller. There's only one controller port on the front of the 3DO.
You plug the second controller into the first controller.
They daisy chain together.
It was pretty
theoretically,
weird.
you could have like infinite players all strung together.
I did find that like distasteful in a way when I was young.
I think it's kind of cool.
The cord was kind of long anyway.
It is pretty long.
It's a 3-button controller with why am I calling them paddles?
Shoulder buttons.
Triggers. Great game. What's next?
We're going to talk about Burning Soldier.
Burning Soldier, one I have not played.
This came out in '94. It's a rail shooter, so it's sort of like,
some pretty big looking ships on there.
they were like first person space rail shooter, but it's like Starblade if you ever play. Or Panzer Dragoon.
It's
very much like Panzer Dragoon, but it's first person. You know? But it has that same, you can like hold down a button and paint a bunch of targets and release
man.
Super fun. It's actually by Hiroshi Hamagaki, who did Sword of Vermilion on the Genesis, which is a really awesome game too.
It is.
It's got great music. It has 2-player as well. And yeah, I mean, it's sort of, you know, people criticize all the FMV games and like, this has the backgrounds, like the planets and the spaceships and stuff that are in the background are FMV, but everything that you're shooting is like polygons, you know? Yeah. And I think it looks really good and it's really exciting. The music goes a long way to
music in 3DO games is consistently pretty solid.
Yeah. Yeah. But I feel like not too many people are aware of this game. Dude, they could if they did a collection of 3DO games, you know, or a 3DO mini.
Dude, I would be down.
Put that on it. Whoever would put that together. I don't know who has like the license for all that kind of stuff, but
yeah.
Burning Soldier.
Lost media, most likely,
quality
unfortunately.
All right. We're going to talk about one that everybody probably knows about.
Does it have a lizard in it?
Yeah.
Woo!
So, Gex was, you know, I know this came to other platforms, but it came out first on the 3DO. He was on the 3DO for several years before he was on the PlayStation, so.
Yeah. He was like their mascot, their Mario.
The 3DO mascot, yeah. And this is a really good game. Like, if you enjoy 2D platformers, what Gex can do that makes him different is he can stick to walls because he's a
gecko.
Yeah. And it's also, there are parts where you can also, so you can stick to the 2-dimensional walls. There are also parts where you can stick to like the back. You know what I mean? Yeah. Which is really interesting. Really kind of changes your approach to platforming.
Yeah.
It's a comedy, you know, I mean.
He makes wisecracks.
Yeah, they don't really hit.
No.
But it looks great. It plays perfectly fine. Like, that's the thing. Like, I play a lot of retro games, you know?
You do.
And a lot of them you have to kind of struggle through. Even like on something like the Atari Jaguar, which I like.
That controller, man.
But yeah, some of the games, the control you have to struggle with, and it's not.
Do you have Alien vs. Predator?
I do.
Jaguar?
I do.
You want to do that instead of making this video?
I know, right? No, that's a great game.
Just kidding. We love you guys.
But like all of these games, pretty much that I'm talking. Well, some of the more strategy games are a little complex, but they can't do strategy games right on current consoles. But like most of these games control totally fine, and like that controller feels modern enough, you know. Sure. So games like this, they're totally fine.
Real smooth, tight controls.
Yeah.
There's a reason why it got big and, you know, got picked up by other consoles.
Indeed. We're going to talk about, you've played Panzer General.
Heck yeah, I have. That one carries some memories with me. I remember it more. It got ported to the Saturn, right? Or am I
don't know. Maybe.
Let me see that cover box. Let me make sure I'm thinking of it. Oh, do we not have it?
I have the game, but I don't have the cover.
I swear I played it. Tell me about it. Is it a strategy game?
So it is a strategy game. Yeah. It's World War II. You play as the Axis.
Yes. Okay.
It's actually, you know, we did a video about Ring of Red a while back. Ring of Red.
Amazing video game.
Kind of an offshoot of that Daisen Ryaku.
Uh-huh.
This is like a ripoff of that series.
Oh, okay.
Essentially. You know?
I definitely remember playing it.
It's a hex grid.
Hex grid.
You know,
you had your mobile infantry, which was like jeeps and tanks and.
Yeah, there's a lot of emphasis on. So the first level is Poland, and there's a lot of emphasis on like getting to a city and maintaining control over that city. Yep. Yeah, and there's artillery, you know, and like it's like a rock paper scissors thing. You know?
Yeah, like planes beat artillery.
Yeah.
It's got very similar to like that Iron Storm game for the Sega Saturn. I mean, any Dice and Raikou, it's got the cutscenes of like things fighting.
Yeah, and like some of the little cutscenes are pretty brutal.
Yeah,
like the guys will be like catch on fire and like flying through the air. These little guys and stuff. It's from SSI, Strategic Simulations Inc.
They had a few games for the 3DS.
They're very famous for their Dungeons and Dragons games for the computers, like Pool of Radiance and Curse of the Azure Blades and stuff. And those games are awesome.
For sure. Pool of Radiance was amazing. Come on.
But no, Panzer General, it's a fantastic strategy game, and it actually plays pretty well. Like, it's a pretty complex game, but it plays pretty well with the controller. They did a really good job of it. So.
I remember it fondly.
Yeah. And then now we're going to talk about Road Rash.
Oh my gosh, you want to talk about...
This came out in July of 94. Nice. Were you playing this in July?
Yeah, I bet I was. Summer break, right age. I was a big Road Rash 2 fan on the Sega Genesis. My cousin and I...
The Genesis games are both great.
Oh, they're fantastic. Yeah, we played...
This is better.
Yeah, and this one was better.
That's what's amazing about it.
So good, man. Yeah. Road Rash is a motorcycle racing game. This one kicked things up a notch, man, with that FMV. And
they're digitized characters, and people think that's bad, you know, like Mortal Kombat or whatever, but it looks really cool.
In 1994, it looked really cool.
It still looks really cool.
Does it?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
It looks great, man.
Fantastic game, combat on motorcycles. I remember thinking that the difficulty on this one, they kicked it up a little bit of a notch.
It's not, I mean, it's like I feel like the other ones are kind of hard too, but it's like the kind of thing like, once you get, it's harder at the beginning, but like once you get some upgrades and stuff like that, it gets easier, you know? Cause you have to get...
No, what you do is you grind the like first race until you can buy like the Ninja RR and then
you have to get third place or higher to like go through, so.
Yeah.
But it plays so well, and this is, I think, still the best version of Road Rash, you know? There's not a
Wasn't
better
there some
one.
licensed music in that game too?
Yeah, it's got like Soundgarden and like, there's a bunch of like 90s, you know, grunge.
Yeah, dude.
Height of grunge.
Heck yeah.
What was I going to say? Oh, there's been like other games. I feel like
that
recently.
Was an EA game, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Before they were evil.
Yeah, EA really supported the 3DO a lot. You know, I mean, obviously they have the Trip Hawkins, you know, relationship, but a lot of Need for Speed started on
the Horde.
3DO. Yeah. A lot of good EA games.
For sure.
But Road Rash is awesome. Next we'll talk about Straw.
Well, another one I haven't played. Saw a little bit of just a moment ago.
So, you know, people criticize FMV games, and like some of them are not good. This one is awesome. I mean, it's very, if you've played Dragon's Lair, which also, Dragon's Lair on the 3DO is one of the best versions of Dragon's Lair, especially for the time.
Oh yeah.
It's super hard, but,
the game is impossible.
Yeah, but Straw is like Dragon's Lair, but like easy.
Oh, I like it already.
Yeah, you can, you know, the directions that you have to input
are actually
very
possible
clearly to make out, and then there's also sometimes you'll have to like jam on the B button. It'll be like this meter that fills up.
Nice.
And then there's other times you just use your sword and it's the A button.
There you go.
Those are all the inputs. It's like the directional, the B jam.
You know how much money Demon Slayer took from me in the arcade? It was like 50 cents per play.
Oh, you mean Dragon's Lair?
Yeah, Dragon's Lair. Sorry, Demon Slayer. Dragon's Lair.
Yeah.
Screw you, Dragon's Lair. You took so much money from me, and I never got past like the drawbridge.
Yeah.
Like, you suck.
But this has a little more...
Stall is my friend now. Straw.
It has a
with
little,
an H.
Yeah, it has a little more complexity. Like, when you finish, like, at first you have a choice of 3, like, worlds to go to. So the story is kind of interesting too. You're a normal kid, and then you find this old beggar, like, you know, laying down the street, and you help him. And guess who that beggar turns out
Is he
to
a
be?
wizard? If you
He
tell me he's a
is
wizard.
the creator.
Oh,
It's
God?
Yeah. You help God, and then God's like, oh, you're a cool guy. You could probably, like, save the universe and be, like, you know, awesome. So,
Chip in a penny, man.
all you have to do is, like, go to all these different worlds and, like, you know, fight different things. That's all you have to do.
That's what God wants you to do?
Yes.
And he gives you powers?
Yeah.
Dude.
So the first thing you have to do is, like, choose between 3 of these worlds. And you choose one, and when you beat that, then there's more. There's like 7 that you choose from, and then there's like 15 total.
Mm-hmm.
And like the order you play them when you finish one, it shows like, so, I forget, this isn't like in modern day, you're the character that, you know, meets God.
It doesn't take place in like 1995?
This is in fantasy times,
oh,
you know,
okay.
but maybe barbarian times.
Oh, in the 1950s.
Which I think
that was between the Middle Ages and Dark Ages?
No, it was like the 1950s. It was barbarian time.
It
was just, and as you complete levels, it will show a little cutscene. It's to call it a cutscene is generous. A small animation of like humans were able to make water work for them, and it'll show like a water mill. You know what I mean? And so like as you complete levels, you're like advancing, you know, human
civilization.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
It is pretty cool. Yeah. And there's like different endings depending on the order you do it in and stuff. Yeah. Nice. It's a really interesting game. I really like the animation style. It's very, you know.
What do you think of the letter H?
In general?
Yeah.
Or like general. In that?
Well, I mean, it doesn't belong there. You know, but at the same time, it does.
I believe straw. Now, I did not research this, but I believe straw is like a mythological creature from some maybe like some Scandinavian country or something.
I'll buy it.
I don't know.
If that's what you're selling, I'll buy it. But yeah, what do you think of the letter H in general?
It's not my favorite.
It's mine either. I don't think we can get by without it, but honestly,
I'm glad that my name doesn't start with an H.
Yeah, that's a fact. We could just use J's.
Oh, I didn't mention, this is by Data East.
No kidding.
Yeah, and Data East are awesome. And the animation is by Toei? Is that how you pronounce it? Yeah.
Great animation studio.
And I didn't look at my notes at all. The main character's name, Alex Hawkfield.
Hawkfield.
It's pretty cool.
That is cool.
I mean,
it's got an H in it.
H in Hawk is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's true.
All
Would it be cool if it was Jockfield then?
It would be cool.
I'm gonna J's for H's. That's my new campaign.
Alright, so 3DO games came in 2 different types of packaging.
They sure did.
Like that kind, and then boom, the long box. Everybody loves the long box, and this is the Need for Speed. So yes, this is the first game in the Need for Speed franchise.
I feel the need.
Hey Zach, what's your favorite Need for Speed game? Wait. We're gonna do a 3, 2, 1. Ready?
Alright. Wait.
3, 2, 1. Underground.
Yes!
Yeah. You know it's the best.
It is.
I like. They're all good, but Underground is the best.
The drag racing was way.
And why do they keep remaking like every Need for Speed game?
Hot Pursuit 28 times, but no Underground.
Underground was the best, and everybody knows
it.
But for its time, now this is a pretty bare bones, racing experience. There's really 3 tracks. And like 6 cars.
Yeah.
But
Gran Turismo is not.
Well, Gran Turismo wasn't out.
Yeah,
for a long
time. Still a couple years away. Actually, 4 discs.
Yeah, there was really nothing like this on consoles. You know, like you had.
These had real cars. Like you could drive a Mitsubishi Eclipse.
Yeah. You had.
So here you go. Mazda RX-7, Acura NSX. Yeah.
So this came out in December of '94. So Test Drive, which had been doing this type of content, but only on computers. They were not on console until the PlayStation 1 came out. Test Drive 3 had come out in 1990. So look, this came out in December of '94. The month before that, you had Checkered Flag on the Jaguar, which I have.
Okay.
It's not nearly as good as this game. And you had Virtual Racing on the 32X. Also came out in November of '94. So like, I tell you, December of '94, like,
everybody's racing.
All the racing games were coming out.
Laying down the rubber.
I know there's a lot of people who are big fans of Virtual Racing, and Checkered Flag is much more in the Virtual Racing mode than Need for Speed. But in my opinion, at the time, Need for Speed was like really unlike anything you could play on consoles. It still looks good. It has a like in the cockpit view.
Oh yeah, I
and
remember
it
the
looks
instrument
really
panel.
good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
fantastic.
it does a cool thing like when you go into, even if you're playing in cockpit view, now you can play in, third traditional where you see the car.
Mm-hmm.
There's several different camera angles.
But you should play in first person.
Yeah, but if you're playing in first person and then you start going in reverse or you come really close to like another vehicle, it'll switch to third person automatically. Yeah. It's pretty cool.
It is really helpful.
Yeah. It's really interesting. This has like the cops, which is kind of a Need for Speed thing. It was in the first game. They just, you get you'll hear a noise, like a tick, 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 tick when there's a speed trap coming up. And if you're going really fast, they're never gonna catch you. They really only will catch you if you like wreck right where they are, And
but that little noise gets inside your head sometimes.
Yeah, and then you get a ticket.
Yeah. Boo. Nobody likes getting a ticket.
Oh, and this does have like pretty terrible FMV. There's like
really
there's
bad.
just one dude who like congratulates you when you do well and then trash talks you when you do bad.
Full throttle, red lining, muffler burning, turbocharging, paint peeling, blistering son of a gun. Welcome to the Wall of Fame. First to the finish and to the victor the spoils. It's all under the hood, man, and you took it over the line, baby, way ahead. Way, way, way ahead.
And he's like wearing like mom jeans with a shirt.
How you doing, fellow kids? Yeah.
It's so that terrible. Stuff's not good, but in the car, this still plays really well. Like it works,
Boy, that original Electronic Arts logo, man, that takes me back. Boy, they had integrity once.
You know who has a really cool logo?
Who's got a really cool logo?
Psygnosis.
What?
Are you familiar with
Psygnosis? Oh, wow. I think I have seen that before.
Oh, you don't know about Psygnosis, dude?
Psygnosis.
So
I'm like a magician. I can do whatever I want.
We're going to talk about Nova Storm. You've played Psygnosis games.
I'm sure I have.
Colony Wars.
I think I played Colony Wars.
G-Police.
Definitely played G-Police.
Shadow of the Beast.
Maybe.
No? Anyway. Dude, Shadow of the Beast is amazing.
Sounds cool. I bet it has a cool cover box. We'll find out right here. No, I'm just kidding.
So this is very much, it's a third-person space shooter with a, FMV background. So this is like the game I talked about earlier, Burning Soldier, which was first-person. But this one you actually see your ship. So it's like Star Fox.
Okay.
But it's very much like Star Fox. But with way better graphics, than Star Fox on Super Nintendo, for sure.
Yeah.
The music's really cool. They actually put a lot of work into the storyline and stuff on the alien race is called the Kaisertians.
The Kaisertians.
Yeah.
You can't trust them.
You can't. But it's super fun. The music's great. This is like, Psygnosis, are really known for their art and their music kind of more than the gameplay.
It rings a bell. That owl looks really familiar.
Yeah, I mean, they were really big in the 90s.
Who'd they get bought by?
Sony.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, no, I thought you were going to say Activision.
They made Wipeout, but not under the name Psygnosis.
There you go.
Yeah, Wipeout. Yeah. And then the last game I want to talk about is this game called Syndicate.
Woo!
From Bullfrog Productions. You may know the name Peter Molyneux.
Oh, yeah.
This is his company. Before Lionhead Studios, this was his company. This was on every computer. They put this on every system available that could run it.
Make it work on Genesis.
Yeah, so it's kind of like it's a cyberpunk strategy. It's kind of like an XCOM game.
XCOM.
You usually have 4 cybernetically enhanced humans that have been brainwashed to work for your corporation.
As one does.
And you're going on missions and you'll have to assassinate a couple people. Or, you have to get them to join you.
Escort missions?
You have a thing, a weapon. It's not a weapon. A tool called a Persuadertron.
Is it a stick?
It looks like a gun. But it's a Persuadertron to get people on your team. But anyway, you finish these missions and then you have areas that you control, and you make money from the taxes that you use for like the R&D, like in XCOM.
Yeah.
And you choose like the tax level to set on these, and like there can be revolts if you set too high of a tax level and stuff like that.
As one does.
But like the combat, like I was just playing it the other day. And
do you use a Persuadertron?
Well, only when a mission calls for it, you know what I mean? But the combat is not nearly as interesting as everything else around the game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's a really cool game. It runs well on the 3DO. I feel like Panzer General runs better, but this is more like a sort of RTS kind of interface where you'll choose one of your soldiers and then you'll say, I want you to walk over here. And then he finds his own
finds his own path. All right.
So,
interesting.
Yeah, it's not like grid based.
Okay. Huh. Sounds like XCOM crossed with Deus Ex a little bit, which I could get down on.
Yeah, I mean thematically Deus Ex for sure. Yeah, but I mean I just picked some games that I think show these are all from like 93 to 95. Most of them 93, 94.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, I know it's $700 for the 3DO, but those are some great games.
Oh,
right?
yeah, dude.
And like, they also had, your
Samurai Showdown, you had some S&K games on there.
You had Street Fighter, the version of Street Fighter on the 3DO is excellent. You had games like Out of This World, which is really good.
Oh, that's a great game.
Yeah. So there's all kinds of awesome games on the 3DO.
Tremendous system. I thought it filled a gap. I don't know why there's so much negativity.
I know. So stop talking trash.
Yeah,
about
don't talk trash about the 3DO,
great.
man. It didn't hurt you. As long as it's not that weird LG one that looks pretty cool.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, the Panasonic one is the one you want to get.
Yeah,
if you're gonna get one. Yeah.
That's the OG. It's super cool looking. It's the one I had. Thanks again, Dad. And it's cool as heck that you own one, and we should play some of it.
Yeah, man. We can play some Battle Sport right now.
Woo!
And like, I over time, I want to talk about, it's not like I love the 3DO. It's not my favorite system of all time, but I have one and I wanted to talk about it. And over time, I hope that we can talk. And if you guys like this video, I definitely like to do more console retrospectives.
Honestly, tell us what the odds are he's got it. Tell us which one you want us to talk about.
Yeah.
You'll probably get it.
We can do the Jaguar if you really want.
If you really want.
All right, guys.
Good times, buddy.
Thanks for watching Tweed Up. Peace.
Peace.